20. So that was pretty cool. So that's what I've been up to. I love this part of Twitter, and I just vibe here. Thank you for having me up here. Big up.
Bigger love to Lito. Arcadas, I'm sure that PFP is familiar. He is a man that joins the server once in a while to exchange a few warm words with us. Thanks for the update. Really, really interesting stuff you have going on with the pandas. It's just that it happens to, I'm not sure if I should say early or late in my time zone.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate, man. I wish it would be earlier for you.
But one day I will purpose to join you. I have a lot of stress that's keeping me awake at night. So that particular night when stress is right on top, I'll just come hang out with the lovely, cute, adorable pandas. Really cool that we have pandas in the house because we're gonna be talking about China. Before we get there, Soulbound, let us know what have you been up to. Bigger spaces are back.
Biggest spaces are back, baby. Yeah, no, I'm excited, bro. I saw this on Next Co-host, and I'm like, I gotta sign up. I gotta sign up. Yeah, man. This is Marcello, head of spaces here at Soulbound. We're doing a lot of different stuff. If you guys don't know who we are a Web3 streaming platform. So we're really looking out for the little guys. We're bringing a lot of different things that you won't see within traditional streaming platforms. And yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff. We got our TGE coming up very soon. So super excited. And for myself, I'm doing a lot of different stuff. I might be the new intern at X co-host. So if you see me replying to your post, that might be me. But yeah, big shout out to everybody here. Happy to be here.
Ooh, my boy has been cooking. I will tell you, Arcade, this. I have stayed consistent in spaces. I do not join a space without Soulbound being in that space. And he's not just joining the spaces, he's dropping alpha, contributing meaningfully, and I'm hoping that will be the same case tonight. In turn, okay. We have a first time user, Fantico. Have I pronounced that in a fun way? Fantico?
Yes, sir. It's all good. Fantico, whatever you want, it's all good. It's a pleasure being here with you guys. Our first time on BIGA X Spaces, but hopefully not the last one. First of all, thank you for having us here, having me here. Second of all, I think we can all send some applause emojis for our big boy Bitcoin, who just made a new all-time high. Don't know if everybody is aware, but we're sitting a bit over 11K. So that's a great way to start the X space. So yeah, happy to be here with you guys, and let's dive into our topic.
Oh, I love that. And yes, Arcadas, it is the fun time. Fantico has joined the fun. Where has Fantico been when we've been having fun? And oh my days, that is really good news, buddy. I did not know BTC is at all-time highs like my energy. So thank you for bringing us that really good news, my friend. Hopefully, I agree, it won't be your last time here. Okay, Creon, tell us what you've been up to. Then we'll get to the other beautiful panelists. And then we'll break the ice on this topic. It's a really good topic, I believe. Creon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, Mr. Console. Yeah, I've been, busy with live and trading, and yeah, I can see that it actually BTC actually crossed 112K. So yeah, new all-time high. I'm happy about that, and of course, I'm glad to be part of this panel. This is an interesting topic. So yeah, happy to be here, everybody.
Happy to have you here, my friend. And yes, BTC being at an all-time high is time for retail to actually buy. I do not know how the psychology of retail operates, but right now I'm sure they're feeling so pressed to jump in on the action whilst you, my good friend Creon, have been in the action for a long, long time. Okay, we are going to introduce a legend. I invited this man personally. He's been a really good friend between when our spaces went off, when our soft launch launched, and now, Kane Brain. Give us a little update of what you've been and an introduction as well because you're new here. But tell us what you've been up to. Happy to have you here, buddy.
Chain brain.
Ma, yo, what's up? Mr. Console, what a legend of a host you are, brother. Oh man, that speaking voice, that introduction, that energy, bro. I'm taken aback. Our boy Marcello's here from Soulbound as well. Fantastic having both of my good friends up here. Um, yeah, you guys. I am a marketing lead at Voxy Tactic. It's a turn-based RPG. It's a play-to-earn game, so a bunch of tokenomics and tournaments and prize pools for that game. We were just running. We're giving away 5,000. Well, it's a prize pool of $5,000 for a 2-week competition that we're running with Voxy Tactics. I've been working a lot promoting that alongside with my man Marcello. Been doing our streams. We're gonna be streaming again on Friday. Mr. Console, brother, it means a lot that you invited me. Thank you so much, and I'm excited to meet all the fantastic people here from the BIGA community. So I'm so excited to hear all your takes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I gotta tell my community this. Today, I need a volunteer because I was invited on that stream. We played Voxies and I was embarrassed. So, Arcadas, I need someone to, I need some redemption of some degree. Okay?
I'll just hop in real quick. I got revenge for Marcelo beat me like 8 out of 10 games, but I still beat him twice. And the last game, he competed in Extreme Arena in Voxy Tactics, and that's where all the diehards of our community play. Woo! It wasn't pretty, Marcelo. That was a rough play, brother. Mr. Console, Marcelo and I would love to invite you, man. Like whenever you're available, please hop on the spaces. We love having you there.
You know what? I'm not gonna come alone. I am going to pick the finest from this beautiful army, and I'm gonna come accompanied. Because I can tell you guys for free, I went on there and I couldn't see. It was nothing but darkness. Marcelo had his sword swinging, magic, double turns. He hacked the game. The guy quite literally hacked the game, and I'm coming back. I'm coming back strong. All right, let's get to let's get to Valenia. I hope I pronounced that right because in our other spaces, the host was really struggling with the pronunciation.
Oh, I remember the guy struggling. It's your boy Axelito behind the account, and yeah, I'm on my way home. So not much to add on the moment. I just wanted to be here with cool people and share some insights. And basically, Valeni is building a fantasy world with different intertwined experience to get the players enjoy some cool stuff built on Solana. And we'll get to talk more on the road as we build up our conversation. But excited to be here now, guys.
Excited to have you here, my friend. You've been very consistent on the spaces as well. I hope, Arcaders, you can recognize the voice. It's a different profile, but it's a similar voice. A voice that is always full of very, very wise words. Can't wait for you to give us your takes on this topic. Last but not least, before we actually start talking about can China be stopped in gaming, we have ex-co-host live and direct. Is there anyone behind the account?
Nah, bro, that's just me. I'm trying to get you guys more views in here.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Let's get some hearts out. Let's get some hearts out. Let's follow ex-co-hosts. They do us all a really, really good solid. Okay, I think we've broken the ice. We've all caught up on what we've been up to since we stopped hosting. We stopped hosting because we went soft launch on mainnet, but that's a story for another day. Let's get to our topic today, and that is, can China be stopped in gaming? And so I want to start this space by asking, do you guys see China as a threat in gaming? And what are your views on this? Just to gauge your sentiments on this. Lito, let's kick it off with you.
Well, I want to go at this from the angle of that their games are not really constrained by the same social morals or plagues that we are. For example, in the United States, we have the AEI initiatives, or just like a lot of roaring about like you're subjugating, you're making this woman look bad, or you're making this group of people look bad. There's a lot of social morals that we have to adhere to, but in the East or just China, let's say, they can add all the jiggle physics they want. They can do as much as they want to make their games want to like playable for their target demographic. So they don't really have that holding them back the way that we do.
I like that you bring that to the topic because we're gonna get into the demographics. We're gonna talk about the developers, we're also gonna talk about the gamers, and you've already somewhat started helping us in digging into this great topic. I love that. I love as well the use of the word social morals. We're gonna circle back to that inevitably. Soulbound, let's hear your take on this question. What do you think? Is China a threat in gaming? What's your take here?
Let's go. I love Lito's take. I'm going to take a different approach. I think that just in general, from the innovation side of things, I just wouldn't mess with China. I think that the US has obviously been a powerhouse for the last century or so, plus probably. Yeah, the last 400 years, literally. But in the last little bit, I think they've gotten very comfortable. And comfort leads to, yeah, you stop growing and you stop innovating and you stop doing new things. And you're already starting to see, even just like the conversation around AI, there's a lot of stuff cooking in Asia in general and specifically in China. And I think when you throw in the conversation around artificial intelligence and gaming, that is definitely, I mean, the meta or whatever word you want to use, that is the thing of the next decade. And I really believe that over the next 5 to 10 years, I still think we're very early, but over the next few years and over the next decade, those that apply AI to their businesses, and that this applies even outside of gaming to just speak on a macro sense, but let's keep it at gaming. Those that apply AI correctly to gaming and know how to use these tools and maximize its potential, I think are going to blow a lot of people out of the water. And right now, what we're seeing with AI in general, I think coming out of Asia is absolutely deadly from a business sense. So I really think that, you know, America's doing its thing, but I think they're very comfortable, and out of comfort, you stop innovating, you stop trying new things, you stop doing new stuff, and I think that that's very, very dangerous to any industry. So, yeah, I think there's that, and then even just from the gaming side of things, they're absolutely crushing it. I can't. I'm having a blank right now. I can't name anything off the top of my head, but a lot of titles that have come out of there are doing pretty well. And I would say that, yeah, just with my previous point, I feel like if we don't catch up or we don't continuously innovate and provide new things in the world of AI, that's absolutely going to demolish everybody that is not applying this fast moving technology. So, yeah, that's what I think.
I think a lot of us can agree with your take there. And thank you for, as we get into the topic, introducing the macroeconomic picture. You actually made me realize that before this spaces, I was looking at those infographics. This is randomly, but it's interconnected somewhat, especially with what you said. And this infographic was showing on US trade partners globally in comparison to China from 2004 to 2005, and it's changed drastically. So I love that you've brought this angle to the discussion. Okay, Fantico, let's hear your take on this topic as well, as we just somewhat start to scratch it because we're gonna get a little deep for the hour that we have here.
Definitely. So, uh, actually, honestly, um, is China a threat for gaming? I believe right now China is a threat for everything, not just gaming, not, I don't know, electronics or AI, but simply everything. They're showing the whole world that they're ready to take over any kind of industry. So, and better and better, and gaming as well. I mean, just imagine they have Tencent, which is the biggest gaming company in the world. Like, I think so. I mean, they have Riot and Epic and Supercell in mobile, the League of Legends, Valorant, and all of those titles. And it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. They're just trying to go deeper and deeper in every single niche possible, gaming included, because we're all we all saw how powerful gaming is all across the world. There are billions of gamers all across the world, either mobile, console, I don't know, computer or anything. Um, we are all gamers at our core, and if this is a market you can hop on and just take the lead, they'll just do it like they showed us with every other market that they're currently taking the lead
Yeah, that ties into what Soulbound says, and when you look at the numbers don't lie, right? And I think we should just get into this, just because I'm getting very excited. Of course, for all the hands raised, you can chime in on whether you think China is a threat or not. But let me introduce another topic just inspired from what Fantico said. When we talk about China's dominance and its growing dominance in gaming specifically, I think they already have mobile hands down under their control. If I'm not wrong, 7 out of the top 10 titles are from Chinese studios. So let me introduce that to this topic. Next up, we have Creon. So, Creon, give us your take. I know you raised your hand to make a comment on whether China is a threat on gaming, but also give us your take on this mobile dominance, which I believe China already has.
Ooh, I, well, thank you for that information, brother. I have not confirmed that. So getting it from you, I know that's fact coming from Mr. Console. So I don't know why am I excited about this because whether it's a threat or not, I don't really care at this point. But I'm more excited about because competition is good. I'm neither against America or the West nor um, pro China, but I think a race for competence is good, and I'm more excited about what they can come up with. When it comes to the quality of the games and whether fighting for people's attention or the gamers' attention. Um, that's gonna be healthy. I mean, I think right, that's just how I see it. So I'm expecting more good quality games. And when it comes to like mobile, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of mobile games coming from China, and I'm actually playing some of those games. And I wasn't really sure. It was just like regional, but now that you confirmed it, um, it's not so bad for me because their games are really good. So the rest of the world will have to like catch up to that. It is what it is right now. So competence is good. I'm waiting for more quality games coming from the West, and if they can offer far more, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I like that you said the games are really good. Let's just have that echoing somewhere in the back of our minds, right? Because we're gonna circle to that, and tied to what Lito was somewhat already talking about, and that is target audience and demographics. Let me just throw this out there to pivot us more into talking about the mobile dominance China already experiences. Number one, Honor of Kings. I'm sure you guys have heard of this title. It's always number one on the revenue charts. That's by Tencent. PUBG by Tencent. Genshin Impact by Miho. My bad. Mihoyo. That's also by China. Call of Duty even made their mobile game in collaboration with Tencent, which is China, right? So, Valenia, please give us your takes on this. Do you think it's a threat? And what's your take on my opinion that mobile gaming is already just China gaming?
I don't think mobile gaming is just China gaming. I think mobile gaming is accessibility for people plays in third world countries as well, where they cannot access the consoles, and the only thing they can play on it's on their mobile devices. Also, it's an entry point for upcoming generations of players that use their parents' phones like we used to do when we used to play on Flash games in our when we were younger. I don't think it poses a threat. What I think is that it all depends on what lens we are wearing, what lenses we're wearing when we're seeing this. Imagine thinking that for us Westerners is a threat to engage with something that's completely unknown for us. And I can tell you, bro, like games from the East can have dynamics that get you hooked. Let's imagine this case, right? I used to play a lot PES in Pro Evolution Soccer back in the pandemic, and by the time it changed to a thing that totally sucks, and you can see the metrics of it, how people stopped playing that game after the updates from 2021. There was a Chinese version of it that still allowed you to play. There was another game that was similar to Ace Combat, which was air simulation, a firefight air simulation, and it was so crazy because the versions that worked and that kept users hooked for a longer period of time were the Chinese versions that didn't move towards Western dynamics for value extraction of the users with microtransactions everywhere. So what's a threat to us can be actually a window of opportunity for new players and for people who their only outlet of enjoying video games it's mobile.
Ooh, okay. That's a spicy take, guys. I think that needs a heart pump from everybody in the audience. Let me summarize what I believe I've heard you say, and that is maybe we're looking at it as a threat, but they're offering us different experiences without the microtransactions, and that's an opportunity. That is a good take. That is the type of take that makes me smile, and I lay on my bed at night looking at the ceiling and it echoes in my mind continuously. So I'll take note of that. We'll circle back to that. I also like that you brought to the discussion the fact that, yeah, Chinese gamers have been mobile gamers for the longest, right? I believe China as a country had a ban on consoles, so consoles never even got to take off. And maybe that's what's led them to have dominance over mobile because they've been working for mobile and serving a mobile audience for a pretty long time now. Chainbrain, give us your thoughts, buddy, and thanks for the patience.
Brother, thank you for asking and for letting me know. So here's the thing, you guys. There was a point made earlier by Lido concerning how they're not really like China's not really dealing with the same constraints as the Americans with DEI and all that. I think that's a fair point. But I do want to also point out that since Trump came around, DEI is kind of dead. I don't know if you guys noticed. Like the whole DEI movement is sort of under the ground ever since Trump took over. Chinese culture also has serious constraints when it comes to gaming studios and what they can and cannot sort of like publish as a video game. So it's also obviously you guys can tell, like, or you can see it's a very conservative culture. It's an authoritarian government, and it is also the gaming studios over there are also very limited. So I do respect that they're dealing with those sorts of pressures and able to come out with some really good stuff. The other thing is, like, I'm not really looking at it as us versus them. Like, I'm supporting good games. And if they're gonna produce games that are gonna act like wake up calls to greedy studios like EA and other publishers, then really I welcome it with open arms. Like, if they're gonna really make good games and they're gonna present some competition to these really greedy studios that we're dealing with in North America and the collective West, and I really support it. For Web3 games, oh, sorry, before I get into Web3 games, guys, I don't know if you guys played Black Myth Wukong, but goddamn, that is a legendary game. It just blew me away. Unreal. Like, it's so good. It's almost like a Souls-like, but with like this fantastic lore, badass characters, incredible progression. It blew me away, you guys. And if you guys go on IGN, like not IGN, if you go on YouTube and you check IGN's review of Black Myth Wukong, you're gonna see so much bias. They're kind of like, yeah, it's a good game, yeah, whatever. And then in the comment section, everybody's like, dude, F off. Like, this is a 10 on 10 and you guys are shitting on it because it's not from the West. So there obviously is that sort of bias happening. Last thing I'll say, you guys, is like from a Web3 perspective, like Web3 gaming perspective, I think it's a very tricky one because obviously in mainland China, you're dealing with an atmosphere where crypto trading is very much not permitted. I mean, they do support the technology, they support blockchain tech, or they're supportive of the technology, for example, for their digital yuan, for example, but they're not really supportive of the overall play to earn ecosystem, although people still do all these things under the radar. But you're dealing with an authoritarian government that's really doesn't want to deal with that sort of thing. So it's kind of tricky when it comes to Web3 gaming, and obviously we're way ahead when it comes to that in the collective West. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
No, I like the point that you and Valenia have brought to this discussion, because why are we as gamers thinking that what's happening in gaming is a trade war? Truly, it shouldn't matter who produces the experience as long as it's a good game. Why the hell are we getting all these publications over gaming is getting dominated by China? It shouldn't really matter, right? At the core of it, if it's a good game, let's enjoy a good game. And fun fact, because you spoke about constraints, I just couldn't help but think China is the same country that tried to make its demographic, and I'll try to say this without laughing. They tried making the gamers only game once. Or was it for 10 minutes a day? Have you guys come across that law?
I was just about to mention that.
Come again, Lito?
I was just about to mention that. It's like 1.5 hours a day on weekdays, and then I think they increase it to 3 hours on weekends, the amount of hours people under 18 are allowed to play.
Yeah, arcaders, I need to know, are you guys moving into China or out of China, if that's the policy that you've just heard from Lito? 1.5 hours gaming a week, a weekday, full stop, right? But this is just thoughts, chain brain, you've stimulated in me. Valenia, I believe your hand was raised. It's gone down on my side.
Yeah.
But please.
No, it was raised. It was raised.
Go ahead.
It's interesting. I mean, let's think about something, which is the level of control that exists there, right? Like the level of how tech is intertwined. And I say this not having been there yet, but following some content creators who have dedicated a good chunk of time into, getting at least the awareness of how things are for us. I'm based in Latin America, for us to understand this, how it works, right? And we need to also be aware of, the level of control that exists on everything there, right? And gaming, it's not going to stop for that, but we also need to be aware of how there are places like Macau, which are their, Vegas of China, and people go there just to gamble and gamble and gamble, and how the dynamic can be created towards that. I mean, we already live in a world where gaming turns out to be more of it's becoming a lot of a waste of time when games are not in the quality, and when games are not in the, how can I say this, not in the possibility for people to create community within them. I think communities are getting more scattered. I think people are becoming more and more biased, and the other aspect of this is the use of social media for it, right? um, some people really rather consume content of creators playing games than playing games themselves, right? um, Either of because they are not that good at doing so, or because they don't feel like they have enough time to play, but do they have enough time to watch others do so? And this is very important to consider when we're trying to evaluate how things are done in the biggest let's say stakeholder, or the biggest house of the East compared to how we do things in the West. I believe the model of the West seems to be becoming outdated or too extractive of value of the gamers, and oof, I don't know if playing more hours and burning more of your dollars in your pocket, it's something that it's appealing, But that's what we are here for, right? To try and discuss and figure out what things can be of use in the positive manner from the East compared to the West, I guess so, right?
Yeah, and if there's one thing I know about addiction, when you try to limit, that's when you get people more addicted. If I was in a country that's telling me only 1.5 game time a weekday, my goodness, I wouldn't. I just can't help but anticipate the next day when I have 1 hour, 30 minutes to play. I'm consuming games like a dog on rabies, right? But it's interesting that you spoke about control. And I think that element of China's control on its population and on the companies that operate in its territory, at least from what we know, according to Western media, is why some people may feel, this is something we should be worried about, right? Because, and Fantico raised really good titles of studios, Tencent being the granddaddy that he mentioned. There's no way the CCP is not operating through Tencent. And I think when you say control, I just can't help but think, yeah, I think that's why people in the West are scared. Creon, let's get your takes on this, then I'll throw out another question.
I lost some of my thoughts, bro. But I think somebody mentioned earlier about companies, kind of like greedy companies, or kind of like monopolizing. And it's crazy because I also mentioned in a comment about Tencent, and so not really China, but yeah, Tencent is within in China, right? And that's actually what's threatening for me, because um, how it is. China is like um, they're into data and privacy. I mean, they like to kind of like breach data sometimes, privacy, and your privacy, and that can be used for many things, for many purposes, right? So it's kind of scary when a company like Tencent is monopolizing gaming, um, and that can be used for so many things. I don't know. It can be for psyop or whatever. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's something that I'm kind of like concerned about when it comes to like threat. Gaming is as a threat,
Yeah, I think I echo your sentiments there. When we speak about control, we know that is a economy that's very well controlled, and who knows? What if this game's a brain rot to us? us to educate their own education. We saw that happen in TikTok, right? We can at least say we saw that happen on TikTok. If you compare the TikTok of the West and the TikTok of the East, it's different TikToks. Okay, yeah. Okay, Valenia, jump in,
Yeah,
jump in.
I wanted to mention something there as you talk about TikTok and stuff like that. Like, literally, a lot of like positive metrics are being reached by Web3 games just by playing with the TikTok algo compared to the Insta and X algo, right? They are reaching more awareness. People are hooked into TikTok, and I can tell you from content creators I know on that social media, that it's a platform in which even when you start creating, by the moment you start creating and you get hooked into it and you get to see all those crazy numbers going on, your brain gets broken. Like the brain rot is real, and not only on the silly side of it, but on the deeper layer of it, right? And it's something that we must consider as well, like how some of those dynamics that may happen on gaming in the East will come back to the West and will end up having an impact on the upcoming generation of gamers. I mean, I know you guys mentioned PUBG before, but it was very hooked. It was something very interesting when I started playing that game on mobile, and I got really hooked into it. It was really giving me an experience I couldn't get otherwise. Back in, this is 2018, 2019, right? I didn't have a console with me, so I was just doing like a big console. I was just doing PSP and mobile gaming, and people get really encouraged to spend the money into that, bro. At the end of the day, like down the road, because they're investing their little time that they have, right? It's not because they are forcing it on the microtransaction side of things. I'm not saying that they don't have that. Probably they do to some extent. Yet, think about it. This is people who have a version of communication messages in which you can do everything with those apps. It's a completely different world. If you even check how the touristic sector works for the Chinese market, it's everything so well crafted to be to be done under the sphere of, as I mentioned before, control they want to have. And it's yeah, I mean, talking about the free will that we have in the West, sometimes for businesses it ends up playing badly, and it is what it is. Like, we need to keep that in mind. And at the end of the day, if a game is not profitable, true, that means it's not gonna survive for too long. So yeah, so many things happen different on the West, bro.
Yeah, the West and the East are really contrasts. And your statement made me think, what if studios in the East are actually getting some sort of endorsement and government support, because we know that level of control happens in their economies, whilst in the West studios are shutting down because they're not really getting that level of support. Maybe the Western nations have not viewed gaming as a key driver of their economy as much as the East. I want to push back on your very brilliant points, which I agree with. But for the sake of discussion, let me be the devil's advocate here. You're hooked to PUBG, my friend, just as you stated, whilst in the nation, they're telling their audience to only play for 1 hour, 30 minutes a day. You know? And I just can't help but think,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah, yeah. But that's displayed. I mean, that's displayed. That's using the tech of the East displayed in the West. So to some extent, and it overlaps with the TikTok narrative, right? Like, isn't it what they might intend sociologically, right? To keep on having Westerners hooked into some of the stuff that they're building for. Um, I mean, this was yeah, this was free. I was using Huawei phones back in those days. Also, I didn't feel like the American brand was fulfilling my needs in terms of tech. Um, and some of the gaming experience that I was having, because my girlfriend back then, she used to have iOS, and the iOS games were not fulfilling my needs. When I tried to play with a couple of games there. So this was actually being hooked to Chinese tech of entertainment to some extent. And obviously they need to keep on engaging their working force to do what they are supposed to do on the daily life, instead of just brain rotting with a shooting simulator.
yeah, I agree. And I know you spoke about monetization. If you want to know what microtransactions are, you need to play Genshin Impact. They are literally the godfathers of gacha games. If you think on that side they're being polite with how they just grab our wallets, just play that game, buddy. I'll only say that just to push back on your great points. But I wholeheartedly agree. The contrast is very vivid, and It's very interesting to discuss, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Let me just throw in another statement, then we'll come to you, Chain Brain. Soulbound, Fantico, you gentlemen have been a little too quiet. Chain Brain, you spoke about Wukong Black Myth, and I don't think there's any game that claimed 2024 as much as that game did. And what's interesting about this game is that it's not on mobile. China's been known to be a mobile hit wonder. We just extensively discussed about China and mobile. This was on PC. What do you guys see concerning AAA development studios not aiming for mobile but on PC and console coming out of China? Let's have a little discussion on that. Shane Brain, you can kick us off.
Thank you, brother. Well, look, there's something I want to point out too. If you look at the sort of market, if you look at the Chinese market for gamers, and compare that to the United States, obviously in China there's way more in terms of like the number of gamers, but each gamer has lower disposable income than the average American gamer. So you're essentially looking, they're not far apart from each other. Like China has more people, less disposable income. America has way less, but much more disposable income. So in terms of like their how much money is in each market, I believe the United States is still more, but not that much more. So China is an absolutely massive market, right? And the people there who are playing video games, like there's a lot of them who are just like diehards in the things that they tend to play. Now let's not forget, for that reason, guys, like when China launches games on mobile, they know their audience so well, and they know exactly how to create a game that's addictive. They know how to create those dopamine loops. They know how to create a game that's going to get those people hooked and playing for a very long time. So they are absolute masters in creating that sort of game. Now, when it comes to console games, guys, like it's like I don't know if you remember when Nintendo released Zelda, the first Zelda game that was open world for the first time, and it blew the pants off of like so many other game development projects and publishers because they did it so well, and it was their first attempt at creating an open world game for Zelda. It was insane. Like I don't know if you guys remember when it first came out, everybody was like, God damn, how did they get it so right? And they did. And this is exactly, I feel, what happened with Black Myth Wukong on console, because I think this was their pretty much their first. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was their first console blockbuster AAA title that just everybody was mesmerized by. The average gamer was just like, God damn, you guys are, I can't believe you guys like released such a, and it was so different too. It wasn't just like, you know, a copy paste of anything else that we've seen. It was something that we've never quite seen before. I think it had some of the best lore I've seen in an action fighting game like that one. Um, so I do think that, and guys, don't forget, they like in China they have really 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 brilliant people out like in China. Like if you guys look at what they did with DeepSeek, with like not even a quarter of the resources that OpenAI had or other AI creators had, in China, you guys, they're very smart, they're very creative, and they're able to create things with less, right? So I do take that their potential to create AAA blockbuster games once they get their heads in the game is absolutely massive. Now, there's just one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick. You know, there's this concern that we are just touching on concerning how, oh, you know, China's TikTok and they're stealing our data. And okay, sure, I don't disagree, and I'm not a, trust me, I'm not a fan of authoritarian regimes. I'm from Egypt, and you know I ran away from the totalitarian dictatorship in that country. And Mr. Consul, I've spoken to him about that in the past. So I'm not for those kinds of regimes. But guys, do you think your data is really safe with Facebook? Do you think it's really safe with any of these other platforms that are American homemade and homegrown? Like for God's sake, you guys, like this is the same country that's telling us there's no Weinstein client list. So get the fuck out of there. Like it's all over the place, you guys. The corruption is everywhere. So I'm not, you know, I'm just saying it's at the end of the day, yes, they're an authoritarian regime that might be stealing data, but I don't know if we're that much better in terms of what we're doing in the collective West.
Truly, it's all about the narrative that's sold. Looking at how our data is manipulated, it's really the same on that side and on this side. I think on that side it's even better because they tell you that they're taking your data. On this side, they just act like they're not taking your data, but they're taking your data, which is it's quite interesting. But let me move us into a really good direction we're taking here, and that is China and AAA titles, China and titles not for mobile but titles for PC. I'll make a comment on what you said because I'm very, very intrigued on what you said. Let's first hear from Soulbound. Soulbound, jump in, jump in.
Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know where to take the conversation. Nadeem just absolutely crushed it. I was gonna comment on the whole desktop thing, desktop games compared to mobile, which I think that yeah, no, it's really interesting. I really think that there's a huge place for AAA games or console games, desktop